Oof, wow. That was incredible. Thank you so much, Vlado. That I kind of got emotional hearing that because you've, we see it all happening right now. I've been through 3 wildfires this summer. You know, Italy, California. We have friends writing in from Spain dealing with wildfires. You know, we see all these patterns coming together, and we know we all have to do something together. And that's why I think Rain for Climate is one of the best chances we have of actually restoring water and creating a stable future for all of us and all of our children. So I encourage all of you, like, please follow up with this work. And the best thing is we can organize these kind of projects. We can follow up using these guidelines and organize it ourselves by working with people like Vlado. And when this Kickstarter, when their crowdfunding launches, I encourage you all to support it because it's super important. We need it all right now, and it's uniting so many amazing concepts together. And you know, I'll donate $1,000 of my own money to it, and hopefully everyone else can support as well. So we're going to open it up to questions right now. So if you had questions earlier, feel free to type them in the chat box down below. Now is your time to chat with Michael and Jan and the authors of the New Water Paradigm who've been doing this for decades. And so if you have some burning questions, this is your time. This is going to be great. So let's get started, shall we? Let's go to our first questions. So first question is from Mel Jackson Bridge. First, let me make sure that Jan has his microphone unmuted. There you go, Jan, your microphone's unmuted. So the first question comes from Mel. He says, we have reintroduced beaver in the UK for this reason. Unfortunately, the agricultural community are not fond of them as they feel they flood their fields. But I agree these structures resemble natural effective ones. What are your thoughts on beavers for water restoration?
May I add? Can you hear me?
Yeah, try holding your microphone a bit closer to you.
Okay. Can you hear me, or shall I be?
Jan, if you can turn your microphone up a little bit more, that'd be great, if there's any way to do that.
So beaver would just stop water in the rivers or in the small streams, and we need to bring back water into large dry areas.
Okay, great. So they're part of that. Yeah, we'll have a lot more on beavers. Brock Dolman's going to talk a lot about beavers. He's great.
Beaver is good for small floodplains. It will stop water in the natural floodplains, and we need to bring water and vegetation in the large drained areas where the sunshine produces sensible heat. I would like to thank Vlado because he really explained it well and scientifically very understandable. Thank you.
Rolly, you're on mute probably.
My bad. You're right. I was muted there. All right. Next question is from Marcelez. She's asked, how do you see the financing of rolling out Rain for Climate? Is there a business case?
If I may, I will take this one. There is a very sound business case. Please join us on the next webinar where we are going to talk about the long-term sustainability. It all makes sense. Whomever we talk this about, it does make sense. It would take probably an additional 30 minutes to explain the whole concept. That's why there is a specific webinar dedicated to that. But we have thought of that. Just to give you a short answer, there are healthy economic laws behind this.
All right, great. So next question is from Alberto. He asks, dear sirs, have you heard about sowing and harvesting projects? I'm from Peru, where these projects are implemented decades ago. and have important impacts on increasing the quality and quantity of water. So have you heard about sowing and harvesting projects in Peru?
I can answer, and I know about a lot of restoration projects for rainwater harvesting in especially in countryside, in landscape, in agricultural land, in forest, and dry land. And some amazing project is about close to Mexican US boundary, which is managed very smart and nice lady, Valerie Austin, which are helpful to stop erosion and to harvest rainwater to dry lands, especially in Mexico, close to US boundary. Is some very nice projects are in different places in Latin America and historically, and a lot of project was developed on the principle to rainwater harvesting. And some big project which I know it is in India and especially in states Maharashtra, and its impact from this some NGO group which is Water Organization Trust. Develop project and help for poor farmers, and with a big area for more than 900,000 hectares. And what was happened after starting this project? It is to starting dramatically increasing underground water table, together with increasing food production and big stability and develop a local economy, together with return people which are moved away after desertification process which was closed about 3 decades before.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael.
And one point will be idea around with this rainwater and rain for climate web page. Idea is to harvest globally a lot of best practices which are developed on all continents.
That's beautiful. So next question is from John Rulak. John is an amazing philanthropist. He's the founder of Nutiva. He's launched so many projects on ecosystem restoration. He's got documentaries coming out, but he's asking, how would you respond to elected leaders if asked how many years would a region see improved rain?
Že ako by ste dali vládam a zvoleným predstaviteľom, keby sa vás pýtali, koľko rokov to bude trvať, kým uvidíme nejaké zlepšené výsledky?
Yeah, and it's I think if we will be starting in some like in Slovakia, after 10 years it's possible to restore good stable rain with decreasing extreme event of rain, heavy rain, and with increasing of soft rain. And if you are looking in, for example, in Spain, which are very drastic desertification process, if it will be massive starting to rainwater water retention measures, like from south to north part of Spain, I am sure will be after 10 years processing will be great success, because I know very nice project in Tamera in Portugal, and it is this project, it is only 140 hectares for by permaculture techniques, and it is unique how is different space between dry lands outside from agricultural lands and in Tamera best practices. And this project is like one great system which can to restore not only water in the landscape, but with support of vapor water to atmosphere and to pumping of rain water to small water cycle, and to increase balance of water in atmosphere with condensation to against to landscape.
Right. Thank you. Next questions come from Marushka. She's helping at the ecosystem restoration camps. She asks, are you planning any form of courses or education for people who want to join you in these efforts in the future? If one is already working in restoration and they want to implement your knowledge in your approach.
Yeah, and we have a lot of idea, and we are trying just now to massively develop and to explain new water paradigm in principle and to starting campaign. But we are completely voluntary group in Central Europe, and we know that we need to help with to sharing of its knowledges and to build capacity for perspective. For example, in March I have a presentation in Prague. In March we have with Jan a workshop around another project which is connected to sustainable integration management for protect water, energy and food security and climate system. And I think it is very important to develop not only local but national and global movement for to massive restore of and harvest rainwater to dry landscape.
If I may, I would also add that to one of the products, if you would be the e-learning and possibility also to attend the course physically with us. So there's a chance that coming up shortly, there would be sort of boot camps where we call people in, we fly in either to Americas or somewhere in Europe, and we do a boot camp in duration of a couple of days just to jumpstart the knowledge sharing. So yes, it is coming up.
And we have another project which is connected to Erasmus from European Union to educate youngsters to help to deeper understand new water paradigm and principle restore of water in small water cycles.
That's exciting. I've been to workshops where with Quivera Coalition they've built check dams, and they are so awesome to take part of. And I can only imagine if you put on any of these workshops in Latin America, in the States, people would love to go to them. That would be so exciting. So Christina Bertau, she's a local just like me in Berkeley, California. She's asked, she runs a lot of Greywater Action, I believe. She asks, has the climate in Slovakia shifted after all the work done in the 488 villages?
Či sa vlastne klíma na Slovensku zmenila po tom, čo sa urobilo tých 488 opatrení v nejakom...
Yeah, and historically in Slovakia was a very humid and very nice landscape and green, and in last couple of decades was drastically destroyed of small water cycle and more dry, and with prolonged of period without rain. We know that it's from research that annually lost from Slovakia 250 million cubic meter of water away to streams, river and to sea. And the whole program was to build water retention measures with volume 250 million cubic meters. And we starting this program in 2011 in practical implementation. But after 1 year was stopped new government, and problem is this solution is extremely cheap and was implemented in 488 communities, together only 10 million cubic meter of water retention measures volume, which means it's only about 4% for whole volume which was planned to implement. And just now it is not possible to say that it is climate is restored, because it is necessary to prolong for whole system to restore in whole Slovakia. But we have extraordinary great examples on the local level in different parts which system is working, because in one community was built approximately 30,000 cubic meter of water retention measures, and plan was in one community to build in average 120,000 cubic meter of water retention measures, and we have in Slovakia 2,800 communities together.
Excellent. So the next question comes from Susan Kuzino. She's a soil scientist. She's asking, how would I get in touch with Rehydration Equation LLC in Merced, California? It's mentioned on your website as a local affiliate.
Please use the contact form. The contact will be channeled to us, and we talk to Rehydration Equation on a weekly basis. So we are going to get you connected.
Awesome. Okay, next question is from Nathan. He says, I'm living in Alberta, Canada, and we're expected to lose a forested area the size of France because of drought. I might be able to help get these ideas to the minister. Does any expert want to help out?
Čiže žijem v Kanade, v Alberte a vlastne očakáva sa, že stratíme obrovskú plochu vlastne lesov. Bol by som asi schopný dokonca dostať vaše nápady k ministrovi, ak je tu niektorý z expertov, ktorý by vedel v tomto pomôcť.
Yeah, and in March last year, I was together with my friend from New Hampshire, from Jane Lambert and Matt Mackey, in the Victoriaville. With Victoriaville is this east part of Canada, and on the Bulstrode River basin, and we analyze about many possibility how to implement and help to increase of water retention space together with stabilization hydrology of Bulstrode River, together with creation of water sources for community in Victoriaville. And this is example, an idea was to implement such example and pilot model, which will help for example, in Canada. And our team is this Maud Barlow, which is this famous lady from Canada, which wrote many books, and one is about like blue gold. And our partner, it is possible to exchange of knowledges together in Canada, together with another people which can to be there. And just now is coming to our space is Peter Bujňák, which is native from Slovakia, but is many years lived in Canada. And he tried to disseminate these knowledges to Canada too.
If I may, I would add, again, this is probably a universal answer, but please get in touch with us, either drop us an email or use the contact form, and we are going to get connected with you individually. We schedule an online session and we talk this through. There definitely is a way on how we can make this happen. We just need to know more details and work efficiently. So yeah, let's take this offline, but we are definitely up to it.
And it's many, and then another point, last year we developed this first introduction to American US action plan for restoring of water, small water cycles. And it's from this analyzing, it's possible to say that it is necessary for the stabilization of climate system in whole US territory needs to build in whole territory in west, east, and south and north part of US to build more than 50 billion cubic meter of water retention space for harvest water and to return to small water cycles. and it's big challenge for California. And if you are looking at different places like Texas, which was last year massive hurricane, which are concentrate a lot of water, heavy rain in one space, but outside it's completely dry, no rain, and this is challenge to starting to restore water in soil and nature, and to help to return water to small water cycles.
That's why it is so important. There's billions out there in grants in California alone for reversing that they put towards reversing drought. So if they knew about the water impact, the climate impact of this, hopefully we could access that.
Yeah, and it's maybe another question which is quite very interesting to, after harvest rainwater to soil, starting to decreasing production of sensible heat, and after water from frontal, like if you are looking in California, water from Pacific is coming to inside. Because when I was in Ventura County last year in April, and in this time was quite good condition, but we know that it's this year was massive heavy rain. It's a lot of damages, and in December was in this place in Santa Barbara was its burning, and its problem is about to decreasing precipitation in California, because more heat of landscape make like block system to flow of humid air to inside to continent to California, and no rain. And we know that it's winter time is massive rain, in summer is completely no rain.
Oh yeah, we living here. Friends I know, it went from extreme fire to extreme rain to extreme mudslide, and you saw that within a 5 to sometimes 10-day period. It's so quick. Wildfire can happen so quick, but areas that have, okay.
From research from Slovakia, which we made in the last century, it is this water cycle is completely destroyed. And one problem is about to prolonged period without rain. And we have just now, for example, 2, 3, 4 weeks, no rain. And after is massive rain, especially in summer period in Slovakia is massive rain with heavy flooding situation. But when I was young, it's about 4 decades before, and it's was in summer was very nice weather to give a short, soft rain, not heavy. And problem about destroying, because just now in one day from Slovakia is producing to atmosphere more than 200,000 terawatt hours of sensible heat. It's energy which are flowing and change of flowing of clouds, and this change and distribution, time and space change of distribution of rain. And we need to restore. It is not natural. It is impact from human activity to change and destroy the small water cycle. And we can to do it, to restore.
Excellent. Next question is from Rennie Thomas. They're asking, how can you re-engineer an already urbanized space to harvest more rainwater? He's referencing Bangalore as a city as an example that says it's a lot of flooding and groundwater declining in the area.
Čiže ako sa dá zmeniť zóna na to, aby sa dala zostúpiť.
Take water, you need more green infrastructure in the town, and you can control success looking at the surface temperature. What Vlado showed, it was the Landsat picture of Prague, and you can control whether you are going in the good way, whether your surface temperatures or surface temperature of your town are going down. If they go down, it's cooling by the evaporation.
Yeah, and maybe you remember in a couple years ago, and in São Paulo, in Brazil, and after 5 years no rain, was massive rain, and it is massive rain was everything was underwater, and problem is about how to manage of rainwater in urban zones. For example, how to build house and to develop new architecture structure and urbanization, because it's, for example, we can use roof on the harvest water and to build green roofs, and we can harvest rainwater to green zones in urban zones, and we need to completely change everything. And it's big challenge for new engineer experts for architecture, how to bring water to small water cycle again, because it is not only about climate system, but it's about this healthy system, because with decreasing of balance of water in urban zones, it is increasing pollution. And it is not good for our kids and for our health too.
Great. So the next question is from Rafaela Schaefer asking, have you heard about the concept of flying rivers? Do you think that, and this is about, I guess it's Amazon rainforest, anyways, flying rivers. Do you think that mapping flying rivers worldwide can help us to understand where and how to plant better to restore the water cycle? He says, I'm a Brazilian biologist working with Michael's partner organization in UK, the Flow Partnership.
I think you speak about Antonio Nobre from Brasilia, this concept of flying rivers. We are in touch together. They show the role of Amazonia virgin forest in the pumping of water from ocean. If we are close to biotic pump theory, which shows how the rain is attracted by the large forest areas. So we are in touch several years with the people who work in this to explain the role of large forest complexes in the continental rain. The idea is that if you go from the coast towards continent, where there is a forest, there is a rain even 2,000, 3,000 kilometers inside the continent. But if there is no forest, like in East Africa or Australia, the rain declines after several hundred kilometers.
Yeah, it's another my short comment about this flying river, and it's I think from my personal point of view, it is impact from increasing production on sensible heat to atmosphere. Because I say about in one day in dry summer season, it is produced more than 200 terawatt hours of sensible heat to atmosphere. And with energy moderate of flowing of clouds in atmosphere, it's one. And second, and it's a lot of different dry lands around the world starting to push to flowing of clouds in Earth atmosphere which are more cool, like close to mountains, close to humid space which are more cool. And with this, maybe it is necessary to bring some expert for numerical modeling, how to find this interaction between production of sensible heat of concentrate of massive clouds in one space in atmosphere.
Excellent. Next question is, okay. Oh, okay. Question is from Bronwyn Plaret asks, is your system as effective on landlocked land as land on coasts, flat versus mountainous land? low inherent rainfall versus higher.
Takže bude váš systém rovnako efektívny aj vo vnútrozemí, ako aj na pobreží, respektíve v oblastiach, ktoré sú hornaté alebo rovinaté. Či je tam nejaký rozdiel?
Yeah, and it's our recommendation is starting to restore of nature from damaged landscape, because we have damaged landscape in mountains and lowlands and different places, and it is this solution can to help in different places. If you, for example, if you are looking in Australia, and last week was massive hurricane on the west side of Australia, and it if you will be starting this system to implement of rainwater harvesting on the nature water retention measure in landscape to harvest water on the dry lands, after that it's starting to growing more water which are returned. And if we will be systematically build this space in inside to dry lands, and it's possible to maybe 10-20 years to return rain in the inside of a continent like Australia.
If I may, the actual solution, this is not like a general methodology that you roll out flat and you're done. This is fully customized solution for each territory, and the uniqueness of the territory needs to be taken into account. So regardless of whether you're sitting in the mountains or lowland or the coast, the solution will be fully customized according to the local conditions. But generally speaking, from the logical perspective, it is universal. The implementation is fully customized in order to make sure that you are going to get the best out of what you got.
Bob asks, what can be done in forestry areas like the northwest coast of the U.S., BC, and Alaska? Forestry companies have long-term leases allowing them to clear cut, slash, burn, and build roads wherever they want and whenever they want.
Čiže čo sa dá robiť v oblastiach, kde by malo lesa napríklad ako holiačka, kde sa vlastne stavajú len cesty a vláda si tam stavia cesty, kedy chce.
I think when we are losing forest, we are losing the sucking of the water from ocean. Question is whether we are able to mimic role of natural forest in the cultural landscape. There is one problem with the forest, that it will provide food for 1-2 person per square kilometer. Therefore, we people deforest and transfer landscape into the agriculture one. So the idea is whether we are able to make such a landscape which would have a structure like natural forest and which would function in the water cycle like a forest, but provide enough food, for example, for dozen people per hectare and so on. And therefore we need to study positive example of the landscape restoration. We didn't mention one from Australia, Peter Andrews, with his natural sequence farming. He was able to restore large degraded dry areas, just encouraging wetlands and trees, including the fruit trees. So.
Yeah, and it's. I think it is necessary to say that it's some intensive impact of desertification process is from urban zones. We have, for example, in Slovakia only 5% of urbanized of space, but participation on the whole balance of desertification is 26%. And its second biggest impact is from agricultural lands, because we have 50% of agriculture, but impact participation is 56%. And forested place is we have 41%, but impact of bad management of forests, especially about like forest roads which are built historically with dry up of rain water to streams and have impact about 17%, which means some drastic impact is from urbanized, and we need to find solution how to starting with place which are living all our life, which means in urban zones.
Okay, great. Next question is from Stefan Boom. He's asking, coming from Hamburg, Germany, how does the concept of holistic management by the Savory Institute fit into your concept of water restoration?
Yeah, and it's if you are looking or read of a book of Judith Schwartz, Cow Save a Planet, and one chapter of holistic management, it is a new water paradigm. It is completely closed because this holistical management system of space is completely important. We need water to the system, and water together with animals and cows will be starting to restore. And second, just now is bring book from water in plain sight from Judith Schwartz, and it is great system how to make this nature, animals, water and vegetation together.
Yeah, we just had a fantastic webinar with Judith, and I'll love to. I'll open it up again for free for folks who want to watch it again. Just incredible information. And that's another question a lot of people have asked on this chat. How is the approach different versus when you're trying to restore water on grasslands versus forests?
Yeah, if we have damaged landscape, we need to harvest water, and water starting to intensive impact on the photosynthesis process. And photosynthesis process is grassland and trees and so on. And it is very important to a relationship between solar energy, water, and carbon, because we know that it's without this one parameter is no life, no grass, no trees. And if I just now remember for Willy Riepel, which is famous professor from Austria, which developed, and he many times said to me, water is a software for processing of nature and to burning new life, together with microchemical and biological processing, together with grassland and trees, which means to starting from microstructure to trees and forest.
I think grassland will not manage itself. We need higher structure which would distribute solar energy via water vapor. It's not difficult physics. You have latent heat, which means the amount of energy you need to evaporate 1 liter of water. From 1 liter of water, you have 20,000 liters of water vapor, and solar energy is in this water vapor, and it will be released in places which are cool, where the dew point is reached. And it's a way how the nature with the water and plants equalize the temperatures between day and night. Therefore, in desert, we have early morning very low temperature and afternoon very high temperature. And in the forest, we have not big differences between the temperature morning and afternoon, because from the day light, the energy is taken into the water vapor and is released in night or in places which are cool.
Excellent. Another question from Rennie asks, For Michael, you mentioned about watershed organization trust in India. What is your plan to involve organizations that are working at the grassroots and land reclamation and groundwater rejuvenation under Rain for Climate?
Že aký je váš plán na to, aby ste zapojili ďalšie grassroots movement, keďže si spomínali tú organizáciu?
From my point of view, is it's best that it's everybody of citizens on planet Earth are responsible for water, and it's like Vlado say above is responsible is not only water engineer but water is responsible of a community level, and it's one, and second, we need everybody from us needs to thinking how to with water which are coming from God to our space, to ecosystem, how to return to God again after using, not to push and splash to streams and river. And if we are using of data from Slovakia, which is annually lost from Slovakia 250 million cubic meter per year, which means if Slovakia is this average country about desertification, which means on the globally is 760 billion tons of water annually lost from continents. On the sea territory it is 2.1 millimeter. And we need to thinking about to dry up of lands of continent and how is sea level rise is one. And if everybody from us harvest around our space in my community 100 cubic meter of volume of water retention space, 7 billion people means 700 billion cubic meter of water retention space, which means after that we are completely win. And to create 100 cubic meter of water retention space, it is job for 1 week. No money, nothing. Everybody from us needs to harvest water, and we need to thinking about that. And to this space, after that we can plant trees, and to everything is starting to very fast to restore.
Well, if I may, I'd like to add that we are working actually with the organizations individually as well. So it's not on individuals only, but we actively seek out connections in terms of the organizations. If you happen to be a member of one, please have them or you approach us, unless we already did approach you. And then we work with each of the organizations on the details of the partnership, how it's going to work, and to make sure that this is a win-win situation, and to make sure that the knowledge, like Michael said, water is everybody's business. So every individual should get involved, and these organizations are actually the means on how to reach them much more effectively than trying to reach the individuals themselves. So definitely we are up for working with anybody. Just get back to us.
Yeah, if you are just now looking to Africa, for example, we need to calling to people and foundation. Please help to motivate people, poor people, to harvest rainwater to ecosystem, not to build wells in this moment, because we need to harvest water in heavy rain season and with creation of water sources. In our case in Slovakia, we have experience with 5,000 cubic meter of water retention space create 1 liter per second of water sources, which means every community can to restore water sources for community needs for water supply.
Excellent. Oh, so many questions I want to ask, but I'll wait till I get to the questions you guys want to ask. So there's questions from Neil, Mark, and Henry, but Neil's first. He asks, if doing restoration, in doing restoration work on already greener areas, is it better to prioritize areas that have higher sensible heat first or areas that have lower persensible heat?
Čiže čo treba prioritizovať oblasti, ktoré majú cítiť pocitovú teplotu, alebo tie, ktoré majú vyššiu pocitovú teplotu?
This program is good to start in different places around the globe in space which we have, for example, one per year massive rain. For example, if you are looking in Africa, in Sahara territory, it's not good to starting to inside, in middle Sahara. It is necessary starting to close to coastal zones and to every year to go to inside, more inside, and to restore everything. Because with water we have in coastal zone, it's massive rain. I was in 3 years ago in Tunisia, and was extremely heavy rain. And with system which was developed couple decades before, and in inside it's quite space with a lot of scarcity of water and lack of water in its space. And engineering solution is for transport water to sea, which means we need to change of system of manage of rainwater system in landscape, together not to push to sea in harvest to ecosystem. And if we are starting in coastal zone, for example, 1 year, 50 kilometers from coastal zone to territory of desert zones, and every year we can to push deeply and deeply and to restore water in small water cycles.
I think stop water where is it possible and encourage plants to grow there, because aim is that the water evaporates through plants, because then biomass will be created and then carbon for soil and you will refresh soil. So again, where it's possible to stop rainwater, stop it and encourage plants to grow, to make plant biomass, which is alive, which then dissipate or distribute solar energy via water.
Excellent. So Henry asks, U.S. long-term military planning places water storages as the biggest threat to peace. And that is definitely true. Can we work with them to rehydrate the world and cool the planet? I guess we...
Mimo iného považuje vlastne nedostatok vody za jednu z najväčších hrozieb pre mier. Dalo by sa s nimi spolupracovať na tom, aby sme mohli rehydratovať planetu.
Yes, it is good question. Yeah, it is good question. I was a couple years ago in Almaty in Kazakhstan on the conference about scarcity in Central Asia, and donor for this conference was NATO from US. And it's a problem, like Vlado say, about this link between desertification process and starting to immigrate people. It is completely destroy of stability and security. We know about case in Syria, and in Syria, I know that it's from 2005 was dramatically decrease of precipitation and about 25%. And after that was completely destroyed farmers, and people from countryside moved to cities and create this conflict between rural people and city people. And after that was war. And solution for security is completely dependent on the water. And we need to bring solution in this space, which is now hot topic for security, and it is big challenge for United Nations and for NATO and army, and because it's we know that it will be prolonged of desertification process after 10 years is completely collapse.
I can make comment. We know that old civilization dried out. It was not question of carbon, it was question of bad landscape management. And when you study it, you see that we repeat fast their failures, which is drainage, and when the landscape is drained, that we are losing water with the hot air. which is this sensible heat.
Right. Ugh. Going any landscape, just flying over the U.S., when all you see is corn and all you see is tilled land, you realize we got a lot of work to do. So Mark asks, I'm wondering if you can comment on the impact of human fire suppression activities on hydrological cycles in areas where fire is a common and sometimes frequent natural disturbance.
Takže ak by ste mohli komentovať, aký je dopad ľudských aktivít, čo sa týka protipožiarnych opatrení v oblastiach, kde sú požiare veľmi bežné na vodný cyklus.
And I was in April in California, and I returned just now back to Ventura River and watershed, and I visited many places. How is this bad management of landscape and more space transport, and special in winter time, in heavy rain, with water transport outside to sea. It is space is about, I think, about 20 miles from Pacific zone. And problem about fire is completely dependent on the states of water in nature, which mean we need to develop methodology how to manage landscape together with keep rainwater on the lands. Because after more water in the landscape is no fire. This is completely simple solution.
Excellent. So I just wanted to ask, we're kind of at the end, the questions are slowing down here, but for anyone who wants to follow up with Vlado, Michael, and Jan, feel free, please go through the Rain for Climate and get in contact with them. We'll also include emails on the webinar replay email, but we encourage you, please go through their website if you want to talk to them, because there's a lot of people on here who are reaching out and want to work together. We'll include the chat log in the replay email so you can see all the questions that were asked. You can see each other's names and emails and get in contact with each other through that. We also have a Facebook group, Sustainable Design Masterclass Facebook group, where you can discuss this webinar with others who've gone through it if you want to. So Denise from Utah Valley Permaculture asks, as drought here in the West US is getting worse, temperatures rising, aquifers dry up, should we plant more native drought-resistant plants into our designs and planting?
Yeah, and in 2004 in Slovakia we have heavy storm in High-Tatras National Park. Was completely destroyed 12,000 hectares in one windstorm. It's about 1 hour of period. And it's after that, my NGO, People and Water, was starting to implement many water retention space at first, and second, planting of trees. Which means first what we need just now to harvest rainwater to ecosystem, to damage landscape. When I was in Maharashtra around with this watershed organization Trust, after many decades was completely destroyed ecosystem with dry lands and damaged landscape, and with a group starting to restore of forests, we first etape to rainwater harvesting on the slope and to build like contour drains, swales, and to harvest and water to ecosystem, and after planting of trees. Because if we are starting to planting trees and we have, for example, 6 months completely dry period, no rain, it is not possible to help and to restore of new forest. First, it is necessary saturate water to soil and to bring water for new planting trees.
Excellent. So next question from Fernando Spalding in Brazil. He's asking, is there any kind of tipping point in terms of area to be reforested to get a longer time sustainable rain effect, like in their chart showed.
Takže existuje nejaký bod zvratu, keď v zalesnení nejakej krajiny sa vlastne získa dlhodobý udržateľný efekt.
Yeah, and it's Vlado explained about this principle about how is destroying of saturation rainwater to soil with decreasing evapotranspiration and loss of water from small water cycles. With decreasing of balanced water in small water cycle is this growing of extremality and loss of rain, which means it is bad news. It is completely bad news for perspective. But it's good news if the same step we are starting to harvest rainwater to system, it is water will be starting to pumping to small water cycle and to restore soft rain and very often rain, and it's good for to irrigation system by naturally.
40% of the forest canopy is considered as a minimum, or rich vegetation, rich permanent vegetation, 40% cover is considered as a minimum to get back the short water cycle, if this is answered.
Yeah, and globally is growing annually 200,000 square kilometers of completely dry lands. And problem like it Jan know about is in Kenya, about is how is dramatically loss of forest from 10% to 2%. And problem is after loss of forest, loss of water, because around this desert, deforestation is built a lot of roads and transport rainwater to streams, river, and to sea. And now after that is completely dangerous situation. And solution is we need wood from forest too, but challenge and big important is how to keep with rainwater on the landscape and to harvest to again to return to by vapor to atmosphere again.
Excellent. So Fernando, as a follow-up question, he's asking, where can he find the rainwater harvest catalog mentioned in the presentation?
And after this implementation of restoration program in Slovakia, we published book, which is this catalog of different techniques on how to build water retention space, and it is possible directly from website. It is free. This book about name of this book is After Us with Desert and the Deluge. Yeah, and just now Jan bring with his book with his.
I'm trying.
Yeah, it's up there.
It is Slovak English version book, but there are a lot of photos. About I don't know, maybe 300-400 photo documentation from experience from 2011.
So if you go to the website and you go to milestones, and on the milestone section, you are going to find the link for download, I believe. If it's not there, I still haven't done my homework and I need to do that, but it definitely is going to be there. But I'm fairly certain it is there, but yeah, just in case.
All right, well, all good. Hopefully that answers your question, Fernando. So it's From Desert to Deluge. It's on the site, and I guess I'll make it more prominent. Yeah, After Desert and Deluge. So before we kind of wrap things up, I wanted to just encourage you all again. Again, everyone's getting the replay for free. We're going to keep it up as long as we can, whether that's 10 days, whatever. We could keep it free forever if you guys all really want that. But Rain for Climate is very important. They're going to launch a crowdfunding campaign in a bit more than a month from now. And we're going to keep doing webinars on water. So keep that in the back of your mind and keep sharing this, because when they launch their crowdfunding campaign, we need to be able to raise about 10% of their goal on day one, because that's how crowdfunding happens. Is we need to have the maximum impact on day one to have to make sure they have the momentum to raise the rest of the funds they need. So, just we'll keep you in the loop on that well in advance, but I hope you'll all participate in that, because we're gonna keep participating. We've got another webinar, another class on water, another class. It's just gonna keep going week after week until they Rain for Climate launches its big crowdfunding campaign. So I encourage you all to keep this excitement up, because this is extremely, extremely important work. I can't think of anything that can unite people. The most hard-bitten farmer in the Midwest who doesn't believe in climate change to someone in Berkeley who's just making urban permaculture workshops. This unites everyone under the same umbrella. And so I hopefully you can keep acting on this and keep being a part of this campaign. So thank you very much. Let's move to the last questions. So I guess this might be the last question. So it's from Henry Swayze. He asks, are some trees more effective at enhancing the water cycle than other ones? I realize species are required to be appropriate to the climate present.
The wetland species are most efficient because they are able to transpirate a lot of water. On the other hand, we need also species which are pioneer ones, which would start to grow somewhere to make first biomass and so on, like birch. So the answer is yes, there are species which are able to pump a lot of water and cool the environment, and there are species which are not so efficient.
Yeah.
Willows are the wetland species which can stay with their roots in the water and they will die. They are very important.
And it's another comment, and it is extremely important to vapor water to atmosphere, because with water which are vapor by vegetation to atmosphere, it is not lost. With water vapor, it is bring rain again to ecosystem.
Excellent. So it was actually my bad. I fooled you there. There's two more questions. I missed one. It was from Rennie. This is a question about the Indian monsoon, and he thought he had a conflict. This is directed at Vlado. He says, monsoons in the Indian subcontinent are an important event. Does massive urbanization mean there will be less rain? And he says, on the contrary, we've actually seen a lot of flooding in cities. But according to your explanation, this heat will push rain clouds away from urban heat islands. He's asking you to clarify.
Well, actually, I'm going to take the easy path and I'm going to redirect the question either to Michal or to Jan. So that's the way I will play it. That's what we have the scientists for.
Yeah, and it is necessary to thinking in long-term processing about monsoon in India and semi-arid zones, because if you are looking in a rainforest, rain is permanently daily, because it's a lot of water in small water cycle. And Jan say about this biopumping theory from Gorshkov and Makarieva, from two very nice scientists from Russia, find the solution about how is system working if we have naturally ecosystem from ocean to inside to continent. If in the natural ecosystem rain is growing and permanently, and problem is about this destroying of landscape and damage of landscape starting to degrade of small water cycle, and after that it is one per year is massive rain, and after no rain. which means if we are looking over India or semi-arid zone, we have completely a rain season and after no rain. If you are looking on Arabic Peninsula, it's the same. In rain season, it is massive rain in Yemen, for example, but 10 months, it's no rain, which means it is too bad. And problem is about how to bring this permanent rain daily or weekly. It is about to restoring of small water cycle, because monsoon, like in India, is dependent on the big water cycle, because the small water cycle is empty.
All right, excellent. Okay, here we go. Last question, and I'll let you all have the night off, because it's about 10 p.m. there in Slovakia and Czech Republic. So these guys have just been doing such an amazing job preparing for this all day, all week. So I hope all of you, I think at our max we had about 270 people show up, but I hope you all got a ton out of this presentation. I know I have. I've been insanely inspired, and I cannot wait to help out this even further. But my last question, I think we'll end it with this. I'll be selfish. Is I live in an urban area where there's a lot of urban space, and there's also some marginal land, some grasslands nearby. What is more effective for catching rain? Is it in the urban space on urban lots where about 20% of the land is devoted to, or is it on the land nearby where like grasslands nearby? What's more important?
I think you can make very efficient urban area if you combine trees, green roofs, because then you will get all the rain which comes, and you will ban the solar energy via evaporation. If you have one tree which would evaporate 100 liters a day, and you multiply it by 0.7 kilowatt hours, so your tree cooled 70 kilowatt hours a day, which try to express it in the money, how much you will pay for the 70 kilowatt hours for cooling. And your trees cooled with the efficiency of 70 kilowatt hours, which is efficiency of 2-3 air conditioned systems. But air conditioned system heats environment. Your tree just save energy for the night and so on.
Excellent. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, maybe we're thinking about doing curb cuts and do lots of rain gardens around the neighborhood. So I think that'd be one good way to do it. All right, everybody. Well, Rena says it's 2:30 a.m. here in India. You are a champion for sticking around till 2:30 a.m. Especially for those of you in Australia who tuned in. You turned in at 6 a.m. to be a part of this. So thanks so much for doing that. So without further ado, how about we close it up, everybody? Thanks again for joining. Again, visit rainforclimate.com for more information about this absolutely incredible work. There's nothing more important than this right now. And if you want to do more webinars like this, you can sign up at sustainabledesignmasterclass.com. I'll just let that load real quick. But everybody's getting the replay. Just check your inbox for it. And you'll get the replay for free till whenever. We'll just keep it open pretty much forever. And yeah, stay tuned. This is part 3 of our series on water. We're going to have part 4 and part 5 pretty soon, leading up to launch of the Rain for Climate crowdfunding campaign. So appreciate your time, everybody. Keep designing a better world. Dankujem, Michael and John and Vlado and Jana for being here for so long. And you're all incredible. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for moderation, really. Thank you very much.
Ďakujem.
Likewise, much appreciated.
Thank you. And everybody's saying the same thing. Matt's just saying, great job. Thank you. A lot of good comments flowing in.
All right, excellent. So you guys have a nice rest of the day, and thanks a lot for having us.
All right, thanks everybody. All right, we're gonna end the webinar, and have a good night, have a good day, and hopefully you'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.